Welcome back to season 5 of Ways to Love Your Money. We've got our resident real estate expert, Jonathan Olow, here on the show today. And we're going to talk about some spring cleaning of those finances and also looking at your home as to, do I sell? Do I buy? What do I do? Do I relocate? I think those are going to be really important questions to ask ourselves through the conversation that you're going to hear from Jonathan and I. So if you have questions, please reach out to us at questions@Elisabeth Dawson.com. We'd love to hear them. We'd love to even get your feedback here on the show. So stay tuned. We'll be right back with the interview with Jonathan.
Do you have questions about Social Security? Let us help you maximize your Social Security benefits and minimize your tax obligations by clicking the link below to get your free Social Security analysis today.
Welcome back to Ways to Love Your Money. We've got Jonathan Olow here, our resident real estate expert, and we cannot wait to have our conversation with him. How are you, Jonathan? It's been so long since we've seen you.
I am doing fantastic. Thank you, Elizabeth.
Well, and I know you've been doing, one Thursday a month where you're doing bingo happy hour. How's that been going?
It's fantastic. We just had ours last week, and we had a guest. I'm doing a host every month now. You guys, Copia was the sponsor last month, and then just recently last week we had Loan Depot, Michael Stowers, and we had some big money winnings. I think they did $100 Amazon gift card, and you guys gave some really great prizes for bingo for free consultations and like free opening packets or something close to that.
Well, and it's always fun.
Thousands and thousands of dollars. But
I know,
right?
I know.
It's price on that.
You can't put a price on it, and getting your financial wherewithal going in the right direction is priceless, right?
Correct.
So, Jonathan, what's new? What's going on? I mean, the real estate market has been crazy. What have your experiences been? I know you said that this beginning part of the year you've already done what you would normally do in a whole year. So that's an amazing feat. But don't stop now.
Well, correct. Yes, I've truly been blessed and thank my clients for the introductions and referrals to the people that really needed help because we are in a very strong seller's market, which means it makes it a little more challenging for the buyers, but my buyers have also been very successful. One of the ways was looking in-house of what our inventory is, and some of our clients that were considering, wanting to sell, maybe they're moving out of state, and this is the time to do it. If you're thinking about moving out of state, well, then now's the time to do it. But what we were able to do was successfully, kind of like dating, we got the buyers and sellers together. Some of the buyers had already been putting offers out and getting beat out by 15 and 20 offers. So this was just an opportunity for our family to successfully achieve their goals without having all of that other stress out there. So we were blessed that we did have some inventory that helped our buyers as well.
That's great. Well, I think what you were saying before is that there's so many buyers out there and not enough inventory to buy. What's your experience with that with your clients right now? Is it only getting worse, or is it kind of, changing a little bit?
There's a little bit more coming on, because traditionally we come on in spring and people are thinking about things, but we're slowly coming out of the pandemic, which was a fear for people not wanting to leave their home or have people in their house. And that was, one of the big things that was a concern for people. How am I going to, be safe, and what am I going to do? So, if they were able to move ahead of time, that made it a little bit easier to get in there and show properties. But there's huge constraints on, or not say constraints, but guidelines for showing property these days. So, funny thing, you have to have a pre-approval. Funny thing, you have to, be safe and say that, you haven't had COVID or you don't show any signs. So it's just really prudent behavior that, hopefully will continue after, we're done with the pandemic, and just really allowing people and into your home that are qualified to buy your house.
Yeah, I mean,
It only makes sense.
It only makes sense. I mean, so Jonathan, has it been something that's actually made your business more productive and more efficient?
It is in ways that you can ask, like when a buyer's agent calls me, we're asking a little bit more in-depth questions. I mean, simple things like if you're, selling a 3-story townhouse and their buyer's, 92 years old, why are you coming to this property? I mean, not that it's even discriminating, but it makes the agent go back to their clients and say, oh, did you realize there's 3 sets of stairs? Oh, no, I want single story. Okay, why are you going in to show the property?
Right,
It
right,
happens. It
right,
really does.
right. Well, May is spring cleaning. We're kind of in our spring cleaning period of time. So if someone is thinking about selling or buying, maybe on selling first, what would you say from a spring cleaning standpoint, just to basically make the process that much more efficient? What would you suggest that they start doing?
Well, I always am having my clients basically clean their house out like they were moving. I mean, you have to set the intention. You have to put that energy, out into the universe. So, you're ready to go, because in this market, it could be, 30 seconds, or it could be 3 days, or it could be a week before you sell your property. So just get it ready, put it into pods. Most likely you're going to get more than what the list price is. So if you're worried about paying $150 for a pod, but you're going to make, $25,000 more, your life's going to be a lot easier making, $24,750 rather than, 25,000, because you got this stuff out of your life, or are ready to move on to the next house.
Well,
So yeah, it is spring cleaning, but it's also, preparing the atmosphere and the universe for what you're intended,
Sure.
what you want to do and what you want to accomplish.
Right. And I think it's about getting serious about it too. And I think that's so many people. I mean, you just worked with some of our clients recently, and they'd lived in their home, I think, more than 30 years.
Yeah, it was about 33 years.
And 33 years in a home, let alone 3 years or 5 years, but 33 years in a home. How was the process for their spring cleaning, if you will, to get them through?
Life cleaning. It was I drove out to, and in fact, it was in Los Angeles. And so because they were friends and clients of yours, I figured, well, let's go out there, let's meet with them. And I gave them a consultation and what the expectations were if they wanted to succeed. And they were very open to the being uncomfortable, because they had to go through papers, documents, books. Their 2 children are, adults now. So a lot of that stuff was there. Rooms were set up for certain ways that they were living their life. And I basically said, not that you have to stop living your life, but this stuff has to go. And they followed all the instructions, and, they were successful. And we had 22 offers, and many were over the list price. And it doesn't make it easier for all. I mean, people think, oh, how great, you get 25 offers. That takes a long time to to process, as well as the sellers having to pick the right one, because they're lucky. And we were able to pick the right one that happened the first time. Even though you have backup offers, you want to pick the right one the first time. So that first impressions, well, is important. And that's all part of the consultation process, and it even comes into people that are thinking about, oh, I'm renting today, should I go out and buy? Well, I can't know that answer until I, really know what your intention is. Because if you're paying the same amount of money in rent and you're paying the same amount of money in mortgage, well, it might make sense to go out and go shopping. But if you're a person that doesn't want to compete, then this might not be the market for you.
Well, and I think that's been the concern of a lot of people out there, because if they sell their home, which we know that people are making a very big intention on where they're living today because of COVID. I mean, that's what COVID's taught us, right? We want to have, our homes be our best sanctuary so that we can recharge. But then the concern is, if you do sell, even though you can get these higher price points and you might have 22 offers, which is phenomenal, what is the offset of that? It's the concern, like, how have you been dealing with the emotions of people saying, there's not much for me to find, to buy, to move, because if I sell, and what if there's not anything that I want available, and where do I go from here? Well, I know you've had some creative things that you've come up with for that reason, because things are happening so fast today. Do you want to elaborate on that?
Sure. Yeah. And this just happened recently with a couple clients that we had where they'd lived in their home for 20, 25 years, older couple. And, you just have that, I'm not going to say uncomfortable, but you have that conversation with them about what their options are. If you want easy button, well, then there's a price for that. If you want, if you're willing to say, hey, I'll take a risk, there's a price for that. And then there's other options where, people, you just have to think outside the box where, again, if I've got a property that they can jump right into, well, then I can make that happen a lot easier than them going into another escrow and then, or not going into another escrow, but putting in offers and there's 15 people and then your property's on the market in escrow. Now this one has to move forward. So it's having those relationships with the other agents, knowing, everybody's cards and how to read those up front. But one of the things that I've really highly suggested to people that are going to go through that process is put all your stuff in storage, sell your home, and do an Airbnb. Because if you're not sure where you want to live right now, well, then go to La Mesa for a month, then go to Claremont for a month, or go to Serra Mesa for a month and try that out because they're fully furnished. You have a bag and you can try it out rather than spending $800,000 for a house. Maybe you invest $2,500 and live in a neighborhood for a month and experience it.
Right. And then maybe that great opportunity comes up that you might find your dream home.
Yeah. And you're not pressured to pick a home just because it's available. And it may not tick all of your boxes, but this way, if you have that pressure off of you and your home is sold, and on top of that, you have dollars in your pocket, you can be a stronger buyer rather than being contingent. What seller wants to take a contingent offer? Not many. And contingent just means that your house has to close in order for you to buy that house. So what are you going to offer them more than money?
With that said, Jonathan, do you have a sense of urgency for people? Let's say they're in the retirement years or they're getting closer to retirement. Is there a sense of urgency for people today when it comes to selling their real estate and possibly even relocating to a new place? Or a new area of the country or something like this? Is there a sense of urgency people should be thinking about now versus saying, oh, I might just wait until next year or the year after? What are your feelings about that? Because the market is so rich right now, but once a lot of these homes that are in delay that maybe should be foreclosed on or in bankruptcy, once those start to come to the market, we'll have more inventory. But do you feel that there is a sense of urgency today to get what you want now, to take the time investment to make sure that things happen today? Or do you think that they have a pause button that they can have here for a little bit?
And if you and I could answer that question, we probably wouldn't be sitting here. We would be on a beach together, hanging out in the Bahamas or
well, we can do that too.
Okay, we can do that too. That's right. We've been good at what we're doing with our financial planning. So thank you, Elisabeth. In my opinion, I think, in the next 6 months, 9 months, I think before the year end, we'll start getting more inventory, which means prices will level out. Will interest rates go up dramatically? No. I mean, because even getting a 4 and a 5% or 6%, loan on a property is not bad. I know people are cringing right now going, oh my God, I can only do 2.7. You're like, really?
We've never had interest rates at 2.7 and anything under 3% we've never even had. So it's just, it allows people to buy more. They allows them to buy more real estate with these lower interest rates. So that's again why the reason for the purchase prices have gone up as well.
Yeah. And so, if you decide, you just have to be able to say, yes, I made that decision based upon the information that you and I gave them about what the price of peace is all about. Because if it's bothering you and you're nervous, well, then maybe you're a person that just needs to stay there. But I don't want to hear from you next year going, oh, I should have.
Oh, I know.
I gave you the information. And if you can't make a decision on, to move, just push. I mean, my philosophy, well, we did it on the last video where we said, push the envelope and do what you're going to do. And I ended up jumping in the pool. And
I know you jumped in the pool in the middle of winter. Oh my gosh.
I was like, what am I going to do for Elisabeth's video this time? Well, it's warm enough, so I'm not going to jump in the pool. I won't do anything crazy. but it really is you push that domino and you move forward and you work with people like yourself and myself to guide you. And again, the thing that I really like to get across to my clients is I'm not pushing a pen, in your hand to sign any document. I want to look at the big picture. And if you say, hey, I'm not going to sell this year, and we talk about what the pros and cons are, and if next year comes around and let's say the market takes a dump and you're, not to say you're stuck there, but if you really like your home, well, then stay there, refinance, do something that you want to do. But, it's again, if you're staying in San Diego or in California in general, depends on where you're going to go in California. But for the most part, if you're going to stay in San Diego, it's gonna be rough. But it doesn't mean it always is, because there's always just different solutions. I'm always thinking outside the box. When somebody tells me no, that's not the answer. I mean, I'm going to push until somebody did joke to me. They're like, John, stop beating the horse. It's dead. Oh, it's not dead. I'm going to beat it until it comes alive, and sometimes it does.
Resuscitate.
Yes. Go get that and get an EpiPen and get that.
Oh my gosh.
But again, if you're going to stay here, yes, if you feel like you want, if you're going to let's say you're going to downsize and you want to sell your home and it's, boom, sitting at the 1.3 or 1.5 or 800, whatever. And you're going to say, well, I really just want a 1-bedroom condo. Then that might be the opportunity to do it. And, with Proposition 19 and all the things that are changing, you need to talk to your CPA because it could be beneficial to you.
Right.
With all the new tax laws and, pandemic and all these new things that are going on, I'm not a CPA, but, I would talk to your CPA as well. And that's usually why it works so much better for our clients, Elizabeth, is because we work in tandem with you and me and the CPA. So everybody's on the same page. So, when you do buy or sell, they know what that answer is and what the calculations are and what their retirement looks like, before they even buy or sell.
And Jonathan, we're almost out of time, but I do have one question that just is kind of like, staring me in the head here. People are selling and then moving completely to another state. How many people have you been seeing, or have you read anything about this, that they're basically buying in different states to, maybe a smaller price point, but a bigger home, or they're paying for their home in cash from the equity that they earned here? I know since COVID has hit that people today know that we can work in a virtual world and we could basically be anywhere in the world to do the work that we do. What has your experience been with people literally relocating out of the state of California? Have you had a lot of that experience or awareness from what your clients are doing?
For me personally, I would say that maybe about 15% of the people have moved out. But what I'm finding, because I also work Palm Springs and the whole valley, and I'm actually in escrow right now for a client in the West Hollywood area as well. Very close friend. Otherwise, I usually don't do that. But what I'm finding is, prior to the pandemic, people were thinking, okay, I need to downsize. I should simplify my life, which we all want to do. But since the pandemic, I've been finding more people from the coast, San Diego, LA, San Francisco, Oregon, even coming to the valley. One, because our prices are a little more reasonable in the sense of what you can get for your dollar. And then they're kind of upsizing, and it's not to mega homes, but it's homes that have an office or a nursery or something, because people are planning to say that if this happens again in the next 3 years or 5 years, I'm not stuck in the city and I'm not stuck in that apartment, or I'm 5 feet away from, somebody else's house. So I think people are looking at that kind of coming out. Even in San Diego, they're going to say, maybe I'll go to Santee, maybe I'll go to Alpine, maybe I'll go to, well, not Borrego, but, they could. But that's what I'm finding. But then again, I've got a couple people that moved to, one went to Florida recently. She's on a road trip. She just closed escrow. She's headed back to Florida. One's in Minnesota, and the other one is probably coming up in a couple months. They're going to go back to North Carolina. So, but it's also very family driven too, because they're aging parents. These are people that, want to be closer to family. So I think that's part of the component. Is there one answer? No, I think it's a component. And that's why I think when people meet with me or in you, and we do that consultation, we're not just looking at the dollars, we're looking at asking those questions that come from the heart of saying, what's important to me?
Absolutely.
And then we focus that around what's important to them. Sure, the dollars are important, but you're not going to get to that and you're not going to enjoy that unless you're really fulfilling what's not in the spreadsheet, but what's right in your heart. And that's all my philosophy of healthy, wealthy living is finding those components, then the other things will, come along as well.
Yeah, I mean, Jonathan, so incredibly well said, and I think that financial checkup is so important right now, and it's really the awareness of what you want in life. How does it make you feel? Not a spreadsheet, but how does it make you feel? And where do you feel that you're going to be your best you? There's a lot of options for us today, and we have choices to make. Everything's a choice.
And the thing is make that appointment, which, I, from day to day, I say, oh, I got to make that appointment with Elisabeth, and I forget. So we're on the books for next month to look at, our financial situation. We also are looking at our trust and our wills and things that change, month after month. And especially with the pandemic, that's, one of the things. I actually pulled it out today after thinking about it for 2 months, and just things to do, and just little steps. That's it. If whoever you choose to be your confidant and person that gives you education and the big picture of what you want to do, whether it's with myself or a different agent. And that's where it comes down to. It's just there are real estate agents out there that do the transaction, but that's not what I'm there for. I mean, my business is successful because of people like you and the people you introduced me to, and we all work well together, with people with that same mindset. And sure, I've turned away people because, well, one, they're maybe a jerk and they just don't believe in the whole philosophy of paying it forward and doing those things. And that's how I choose to live my life. I'm going to give up a deal, just because I'm not going to do a deal just to do a deal.
Yeah. Well, I don't think anyone should do a deal just to do a deal. But Jonathan, I think that, this whole time of spring cleaning, so great to even talk about it, because now reviewing all your financial documentation, review where your home situation is. There's an opportunity out there. We all have to live somewhere, but maybe now is the time that you really want to take a look at that, because, the world can change. We don't have the crystal ball. We know that the crystal ball is out there somewhere, but we don't necessarily know when, where, what, how. But I think that doing that spring cleaning, it's the end of the first quarter. We're now in the second quarter, and it's, what are we going to do for the second quarter? What are our goals, dreams, and desires for the second quarter, and maybe for the rest of the year? So thanks so much for being on the show today, Jonathan. It's always a pleasure to have you. A ton of knowledge, so many great things that you talk to us about. And, we couldn't be more grateful to have you.
Can I add one little note and just kind of going back, and I'll take 10 seconds. Is you just popped it into my head is, if you're able to open and close your own doors, take advantage of it, because when the door gets shut on you for whatever reason, health, finances, the government, whatever it is, it's going to be a lot harder for you to open up that door. So, explore that. If you've been thinking about it, you can control how the door opens and closes now. But once it closes and you don't have control, then usually it's not going to be in your favor.
Yeah. Well said. Well said. If you've got questions for Jonathan, this is the time to reach out. Reach out to us at questions@, elizabeth.dawson.com, or give us a call at our office at 619-640-2622. If you want an assessment with Jonathan to kind of see what your house situation looks like, we'll be happy to get you in contact with them. And I think that information will probably be in this podcast as well. Again, thank you so much, Jonathan. It's a pleasure to have you. It's always a joy. So much, healthy, wealthy living, and it's a joy to actually hear your perspective, because it is a process. It's not just a transaction. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. As a thank you to all of our listeners, I would love to offer you a complimentary consultation with me, Elisabeth Dawson, and just click on the link below and you can schedule that time to meet with me. Take care. See you soon. Jonathan is always a joy to have on our show. He has so much vision, and the overall performance of his process is so incredibly important. Healthy, wealthy living, but also identifying what's important for us to think about. And how does it make us feel? It's not just a financial transaction on a statement. It's really about how does that transaction or purchase or sale of a home or buying even other homes, how does that really make me feel? Where do I want to be? Where do I want to end up? You know, even the conversation of, gosh, am I renting right now? Should I buy? It's really about who are you talking to, which is yourself, but what do you feel? Is now the right time to do this, or is it just time to kind of figure out where you want to be? I love the idea of if you're selling your home and you don't have another home to buy to go into, which is very much the market as it is today, but Jonathan's suggestion about staying in an Airbnb for a month or maybe two and just see that city or that area, if you really enjoy living there, and if so, maybe that's your answer, that the opportunity might present itself because you're spending time in that community. Well, I thank you for being a part of the show today. I thank you for listening, and please send us your feedback. We'd love to know about it. If you have any questions about this and you want to get in touch with Jonathan or have us help you with a assessment of what your financials look like, because it's now after the first quarter of the year and it's time to do that review, don't hesitate to reach out and call us at 619-640-2622. Loved the show. Take care. Bye-bye. The information provided in this show is for informational and educational purposes only. This show is not investment advice, nor is it intended to address the financial needs of any particular viewer. The opinions expressed on this show are not intended to be an endorsement of any particular investment strategy or service of any other kind. You must make an independent decision regarding investments or strategies mentioned throughout the show. Before acting on information in this show, you should consider whether it is suitable for your particular situation and strongly consider seeking advice from a financial advisor.